Good morning, everyone. Today's the 8th of November. It is a Friday. We're moving towards the middle of the month, which will be Turkey Day pretty soon. And the markets have actually moved all the way up into this. This is the SPY 1 hour chart, moved up into my rally phase. And now, if you look over here, we're looking at the counter trend rally phase into the end of the week. Now, I just checked the biasing system. It is still bearish, which is kind of interesting in the sense that we've seen this post-market rally and the directional trend of the biasing system for the SPY is to the downside. What that normally means is that we move into some sort of sideways contraction. So I've already talked about this. We had been bearish on the SPY through this period. This is back in September. We had been bearish through the SPY through this period, and then moved into bullish trending back over into here. The biasing system, and I'll try to grab a chart for you. The biasing system is actually kind of cool in the sense that it gives us, general market trending. And when I call it a biasing system, what it is really an analysis model that tries to show us where growth or contraction phases are going to take place. So you can see we've had, a number of, real big growth setups through this phase here to the upside, then a contraction, then a phase here to the upside, then a contraction. And what we're really looking at here, guys, is this bearish bias that is set up right now has me a little concerned that we are going to be moving into, that anomaly, as I mentioned to everyone, um, between now and December 10th, roughly. That puts us right out here into this low zone over here. We're looking at an anomaly event. I highlighted it with this red box. So we're moving right into the anomaly zone now. So let me move this up here and understand we are moving up into the anomaly zone, and we are going to be probably very quickly seeing if my anomaly setup is correct. So we're moving into this topping pattern, this what I call counter trend rally, followed by a carryover on Saturday, which again, the way I look at these patterns is they're psychological. So even though we don't trade on Saturday, we carry over whatever happens today on uh, Saturday. And then we potentially get a big crush pattern on Sunday in trending mode. Crush patterns are typically fairly large downward moves, leading to a gap potential. Okay, a fairly large downward move if we get trading on Sunday, leading to a gap potential on Monday in trending mode, would indicate that we then have a top resistance in carryover mode, consolidation in counter trend mode, which would still be a consolidation. So we'll have to see where we're at when we get there. Assumably to the downside would mean we consolidate slightly back to the upside, which makes sense after a top resistance pattern. Then we get into a temporary bottom, which means we try to find support and set up a little bottom pattern. Then we get a counter trend gap reversal. Now, a counter trend gap reversal in a downtrend could be to the upside. A counter trend gap reversal on a after a pullback could be a downside move. So remember, depending on how we consolidate and what happens on this bottom, a counter trend gap reversal could be either up or down. I'm guessing at this point probably down because we're going to have a bottom and consolidation right before it. In other words, top consolidation, bottom gap reversal. I read this as finding resistance, consolidating, finding support, and then breaking away from that support. And I'm assuming to the downside. Then we get a topping pattern moving downward, a reversal rally in trend mode on Sunday, then an up, down, up, which would mean the topping pattern would be our up day, the reversal rally would be our down day, and then this would be another up day in counter trend mode. So this would be, again, a down, up, down. So reversal rally to the upside, top setting up a black bar, and then this would be a black bar as well. Top resistance, potentially setting up a peak level, flat down in trend mode on Wednesday, indicating somewhat flat downward trending. Harami inside. These flat downs and Harami insides, these are more like inside go nowhere days. And then we get another temporary bottom, which indicates potentially that we are trying to find support again. Then we get a top resistance, a breaking up or down, a carryover, an inside breakaway, and an inside breakaway, all of which in trending mode. And I'm fairly concerned as we move into this time frame here, the end of the month, that we would be drifting. So when you come into here and consider where we're at, we could be drifting into this kind of a low mode for the anomaly pattern. And again, I don't know for sure that it's going to be there, but I'm kind of concerned that we're going to be moving into that type of a phase as we shift through the next couple of weeks. So I think we've had the elation of the election take place right here. Let's call it the relief move. Now I think we're going to consolidate into this channel kind of right across here. And I think we're going to consolidate right across here, probably for a bit, and move into some sideways consolidation into this area. So again, we're going to see how it plays out. Today's pattern being a reverse rally and counter trend mode. I've highlighted it over here as a potential down bar. You can see right here. I'll spread this out. This is what we're looking at right here, guys. A potential down bar. And, what I think this is going to be with the pattern is, open slightly lower, and it's going to be a pullback bar towards the end of the day, maybe closing down around 590, 592. From where we're at right now. We're 595. We will see. Maybe a little bit lower. I don't think we're going to be getting down into this lower support zone. That comes back over here on potentially the 15th. We'll see if it plays out the way I expect. So a pullback today, and then we're looking at so you can see here, this is our peaking. We had our buy trigger theoretically here. You see how I marked it? Selling up at the end of the day yesterday, looking for another buy trigger down here, which would really be this lower area at the end of the day potentially. And then we would be looking to sell up in this area. So theoretically, this is kind of how it will look in this area. And what we're looking at is, like I said, I try to present very clean data, but predicting the markets is hard, folks. It's not always dead on, and it's not always as easy as one thinks to try to determine what's going on. But I see, and again, you can go back and watch the videos if you want, but these have been pretty consistent. Okay. We really, bought off of these lows. And you remember I had the buy hedge back over in this area many weeks ago before the election, indicating, hey, this would be a great area right before the election to load up on a bunch of calls just in case we get a big breakaway move. And I warned to sell hedge up here off of this peaking pattern. So the whole idea here is, I was way ahead of the market, really calling that buy hedge and sell hedge. I even got a couple of comments from people how I helped them, save them thousands through this downtrend. I've gotten comments from people about how they took my advice and picked up a bunch of call options over here right before the election and had this huge move to the upside. So now we're looking at the buy back over here and the sell up here, looking for a pullback back down to here. trying to buy near the end of the day or early tomorrow or Monday. I'm sorry. And then we'll be looking for a sell up here midday Tuesday on the 12th. Okay. It's really just kind of rolling right now. And then we'll more than likely have to ride out, if my analysis is correct, this move. And we'll be looking to buy down here somewhere on the 15th on Friday, looking for that sideways move back up. You can see how we're just kind of rolling through this kind of a cycle phase here. Okay, then I think we move into downward trending. I think this is cycling through and rolling into downward trending until we get to the anomaly event, which is right out here with December 10th through 15th. I think we're going to be rolling slightly back downward and then building a base off of this level over here. So we'll see how this plays out. I'll leave these lines on for now, and we will go to the QQQs. Okay, QQQs are, as I mentioned to you, I'm waiting for that excess phase peak pattern setup. I haven't drawn the lines. I apologize. I've been very busy with projects and taking care of things over here, but we're really looking at that rollover. So this is carrying over with that potential rollover. You can see the Qs are already down a little bit, not much, but if my analysis is correct, we're going to be looking at the same type of rollover kind of in this trend, ultimately coming out into that anomaly pattern around December 10th. So let me shrink this up, try to draw it for you. So we're going to be looking at some kind of rollover, filling that gap, maybe bouncing a little, rolling into the anomaly range, which is December 10th. And then we're going to be looking at a move up into the end of the year and potentially higher. So if we take a look at this and we really see kind of what's going on here, this is kind of a excess phase peak pattern. Okay, so you can see we have the peak, the rollover, the flagging. Let me label it for you. The peak, number one, the flagging, number two, the breakdown to consolidation, number three, and then we invalidate with the move to the upside, right back over here. That invalidation then gives us the clearance to go to new highs. So what we're looking at here is a pretty solid pattern. I mean, you can almost see this play out. And I know some of you have started to tell me you're seeing these excess phase peak patterns in the market. That's great. Seeing them is really going to help you understand where we're at in the market. So, right now we are bullish. We're setting up this counter trend rally phase today. We would be looking for a rollover, potentially getting short-term bearish through this rollover, potentially filling this gap, moving into this consolidation flagging pattern. May not be very big. I mean, really, once you get into this pullback, flags are only maybe 50% of this move, maybe 61%. That's Fibonacci. And then we would be expecting to roll downward, break this level, move into consolidation, building a base, and then attempting to rally back out of it. Remember, the anomaly pattern that I expect starts, well, actually, I didn't do this right. The anomaly pattern I expect it to start somewhere around here you go, around the 11th and lasting until maybe the 20th of December. So about there. And then we have the anomaly setting up here. We're looking potentially at a real buy zone right in this area. So if I were to draw this a little bit more effectively, we would be looking for a buy zone over in that area. And this is where you would be looking to start your anchor legs long, buy hedge. So you'd be looking to try to play this move into consolidation. Now look at how clean this would be. Okay, I mean, look at how clean. I don't know if I can do this for you, but I'm going to do my best. But so pay attention across these lows, coming across this low, and coming across this high, wherever we end up here, across this area. Look at that big broad flag leading into a breakaway rally near December 20th or so. And it would make sense to me that we would be looking at a big broad flag setting up here. So we would really kind of be looking at a move from here up over to here, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 to the upside. And that would be a fairly clean objective. Oops. If you can understand this as to where we're at and how this plays out, this moves us through Thanksgiving, through whatever's going to come out of the market, consolidating through this range, and really gives us a chance to come into a breakaway range right around December 15th, 18th, 20th, maybe setting up a base here earlier. Okay, so we'll see how it plays out. So now let's go over to gold and silver. Gold and silver are moving slightly sideways right now. Really not too concerned about this move. We have a very strong potential for an upward rally here. You can see how I drew. I mean, look at this, folks. I drew it as a move from this level up into this middle area, consolidating, and then rallying much higher back up into this 2750, 2760 area. Here's our consolidation. Here's our stalling. Just like I drew it, pulling back a little bit. That's the way the markets work. And I think over the next day or three, we're going to see this rally very aggressively up to 2750, 2760, 2770, up into this area here and try to stall out. And the same thing with silver. We've seen it come up and stall back down right where I drew the stalling. You can see it right here. And the next big phase is going to be to come back up into this area, 33, 33.20, stalling out for maybe 4 or 5 days. And then I think we're going to rally beyond. So understand that gold and silver are making this move, and they're doing it fairly aggressively to the upside. And it's just going to be a matter of time before we get the recovery phase. That's what this blue is. This blue, I'll make it yellow. Well, I got other yellow on there. I'll make it light blue. We've already got it light blue. This is the recovery phase. That's what this is. This is the panic selling phase, the bottom, the impulse wave higher, and now we're in this recovery phase. Now, yes, you could turn around and argue, but Brad, look, there is an excess phase peak pattern setting up. You betcha there is. And what would that excess phase peak pattern be? A low coming off, flagging. Okay, let's make this red, light red. And what would be the next phase of this? The next phase of this would be a very solid upward trend, breaking the flag, rolling up to consolidation, and then breaking consolidation, looking for the ultimate high. Can you see that setting up, guys? That's what we're really looking at, is an inverted excess phase peak pattern. And the same thing back over here. You can argue, Brad, what is it doing? It's playing an excess phase peak pattern. So look at this here. Let me get this out of the way. Oh, my cat's in the hallway whining. Come back over here. Here's our breakdown to our low. Here's our move up. Here's our flag. And again, slightly off. Let me drag this a little bit back. So there's our move. There's our flag. Let me make this a little darker so you can see it. There's our flag. And what would happen next is that we would break the flag, move up into consolidation, and then break consolidation and move up to an ultimate high. That's the excess phase peak pattern at play. And again, that's why I'm trying to teach them to you, because they're so important. And you can see how I drew. I mean, in reality, I drew the basing low, moving into flagging on this area, moving into consolidation, and then breaking up to the ultimate high. I drew that exact same pattern. And it's because mentally I expect it to happen. Okay, so we'll kind of leave this hopefully so you guys can see, and I'll make these a little darker. It's kind of cool when you get down to the nitty gritty of it and you see these patterns playing out and you see how they then play out in real time. So let's see what happens. I mean, what I'm expecting right now, as long as we're in flagging, we're going to be kind of drifting downward. As we get out of flagging, you're going to see a rally, maybe today, maybe on Monday, getting us breaking out of this rally up into this area. I'll highlight this, make this dark blue. And then we get up into this area, we move into consolidation. That could last 3, 5, 6 days. I don't know. It's going to be probably longer than our base and longer than our flag, but we will see. And then we rally out of it into new highs, and the new highs will take out the previous highs and extend by probably 15 to 30%. So, we're talking about gold moving up to, 2860, 2900 maybe. And we're talking about silver moving up to, maybe 3660, maybe $37 on a big rally. And in my opinion, that'll happen probably before the end of the year, well before the end of the year. It may happen before the end of November. So we're still very early in November here, guys. Okay, last we'll go to Bitcoin and come back over here. Bitcoin's at 76,000. Look at that. Okay, so we've reached a new high. Again, I didn't get a chance to do a Bitcoin video yesterday afternoon, but it's pretty easy. Oh, dang it. Get out of draw mode. Pretty easy to look at this. We've been going over the Bitcoin setup and the flagging. Gotta admit, it's moved a bit higher still. So, we've come into this area and we've peaked. Try to draw this a little better. It's early in the morning, folks. Hang tight. So we have peaked up here, pulled back, flagged into a new high. We have peaked, pulled back, flagged into a new high. Now we see this consolidation. Very interesting to see that kind of sideways trend. And what we could potentially look at is this range being consolidation. Now, whenever I start to see consolidation, I'm kind of going back here looking to see, did I miss a pattern? Well, I could be drawing this as a flag and then a breakaway up into consolidation, and consolidation may have started here and consolidated across here. What this would indicate then is that if this is correct, and this is our flagging on an inverted flagging formation, then we would be looking at this being, get rid of the A, get rid of the B. This would be looking as our consolidation. And this would be attempting to either invalidate off of this consolidation, which would be this downtrend, if we invalidate, or we would be looking for a further move to the upside, setting up our ultimate high, because we have already the one, we have the two, we have the three into consolidation, and we would be looking for the four, the breakaway into number five. So looks kind of interesting in the sense that at this point, we are seeing flagging, we are seeing consolidation. You can clearly see right across here a flagging formation, and we could draw it right across this area, ignoring this little peak for now. And it would tell us that we have to the end of this day, roughly the end of today, is going to reach our apex zone right here. Going to reach our little apex zone, and then we get to see what happens. And at that point, we have either oops, go away. We have either a breakaway, or we have B, the rejection and the reversion side coming back down. And given what I'm looking at with the anomaly, given the fact that gold is probably going to go up, and the dollar has moved back down a little bit, I would probably put about a 60% chance here that A is going to happen. I'd probably put that as a 60% chance, maybe a little higher, call it 65. And I would put B right now as a roughly 35% chance it's going to happen, just based on my interpretation of the data. Remember, we're looking at, this anomaly event really setting up kind of mid-November. So if we get the anomaly event mid-November, like I've marked out here, look at this. We're going to be looking at that anomaly event possibly somewhere out here around the 13th, 14th. Let's just call it late 13 into into this buy zone over here. So if we see an anomaly event, and we either get up to this level, and then we roll back down into the anomaly event, flagging, and then breaking down into consolidation, and then ultimately hitting a low, then we are going to then move into the anomaly event, into the buy zone, which will probably be back over here around the end of November, moving into December. And the anomaly event will be back over here. And this is kind of what I expect. So whether it happens out here at this peak or rolling down into this peak, what I would expect would be a flagging, a breakdown, and then potentially some consolidation into this range before we get into the anomaly event. So really, I'm kind of want you guys to focus on this level. This is where I think we're going to be setting up the next big base based on my cycle research and my sector research. So we really have a a pretty good chance of an anomaly event setting up here. Bitcoin obviously is reacting to the President Trump's news that he's going to initiate new regulation and policy supporting Bitcoin and cryptos in the U.S., which is fantastic. But again, I think we do have to be cautious of this anomaly pullback event and what it's really going to do in the long term. When you look at how we're moving here, it's going to set up a big, broad flagging formation. So, you come in here and again, you look at this and you say, okay, there's our peak coming back down into flagging. And there is our big, broad peak. into flagging. So you will see that we will be looking at setting up a very large excess phase peak pattern that may continue to trend higher as one opportunity, or will attempt to move downward, set up consolidation, and then either A, break downward or revert back upward. So longer term, this gives you a good idea of how this plays out, how these little trends translate into bigger, broader patterns, giving us some real big opportunity in Bitcoin. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here at SPY. Remember, we're looking at a downtrend today. Let me show you gold. Gold is looking at a nothing pattern in trend mode. We are in bullish trending. Theoretically, we would be looking at the counter trend momentum rally to be ending, moving back into trending. Trending is again bullish for gold and silver. Remember, we're looking kind of at a move higher. If I were to take a guess at where gold is going to end today, I would come back over into this area, try to spread these out. I'll do this. It's just a guess, guys. I'm using my own interpretation of what I think is going to happen into the end of the week and try to give you an idea. So if I were to guess where gold was going to end today, I would probably guess somewhere between the 1720 to maybe 1740 range, ending in this area. So I'll mark that as yellow. And if I were to guess where silver was going to end today, I would guess probably 3260 up to maybe 3290, potentially ending today. That would be a pretty good rally. Then let's take a look at how much I'm guessing. About a 3% rally on weaker dollar in silver, and about a 1.5% rally, 1.25% to 1.5% rally on gold. And I think that's a fairly safe, moderately safe estimate. I might be a little high over here on silver. Silver tends to lag a bit, but we'll see. We'll see how we end up today. And again, that's just a guess. I think the weakening dollar getting into the weekend here, I think we're going to see some positioning. And like I said, I really do expect gold and silver to be back in this area, into this previous zone area here and over here, fairly quickly. I expect it to move fairly quickly. Okay, guys, that's it for now. Hopefully my microphone works. All I did is unplug it and plug it back in. So I'll spin through the video real quick, make sure there's audio through all of it. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and get some today. It's Friday. Remember, we have a lot of opportunities setting up the next 5, 6, 7 years. So I want you to understand that, if you've been following me for a couple of months, we've got 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 years of very big opportunities for traders. And I'm just going through hourly stuff right now. So remember, we've got a lot of opportunity ahead. You definitely want to get your game straight over the next 6, 12 months. Start following what's going on, because and hopefully I'm helping. I'm not saying I'm the secret to everything, but hopefully I'm helping. And you really need to understand that, the skills that you're learning right now are going to keep you ahead of the market. And again, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I'm trying to be ahead of the market. I'm not following along with, a bunch of indicators or what have you. I'm just sticking to price, trend channels. You can see all the lines. Everybody comments about, well, gee, it looks ridiculous. I'm sorry you don't like it. I don't really care. This is the way it is. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you guys how we have these setups, these moves. Every time I look in here, I find something I drew and I could probably get rid of. But again, I want you to see how we are trying to be ahead of the market trend. We are not trying to be behind it. We've mapped out buy and sell zones going out a week, 2 weeks into the future here. And we've mapped out big, long zones back out over here that are literally a month out into the future. So we've mapped out our anomaly, we've mapped out our buy zone, we've mapped out our support zone, the buy sells areas. We've know that we need to be hedging potentially back into this buy zone. This is again an area where we're going to be looking to try to prepare for a rally phase out into the new year. And in the meantime, we've got to navigate this anomaly pattern that's setting up here, which could be a contraction pattern. Again, I showed you, and I'll get rid of that, but I'll show you again here. I showed it to you on the NASDAQ. I'll show it to you here on the SPY. So we come in here, come down to this low, come across this low, come across this low right before the election, come right out over here. And now we come back over to where we were from the previous high over here, up in this area. So trying to see it across this area, coming across these zones here, would put us flagging right into that area, right into that apex area. And look, that aligns right into my buy zone. How did I know? How did I know that? It's a dumb question, but I mean, think about it. The patterns, the analysis that I do, when things align like this, where the actual price data conforms to my expected zone area, that's a good thing, guys. That's called alignment. That means that my research is aligning with actual price data. My expectations, based on my research and what I believe is likely to happen, is also aligning with factual price data. So we have a very good opportunity to see a massive trend change right in this area after through this flagging. And we'll see how it plays out. But again, just sometimes I amaze myself. It really does come down to knowing the data and knowing the patterns and trying our best to try to figure out. This is something I must have drawn a while ago. Come here. There we go. Anyway, look, I'm going to end it there. Go get some today. Happy Friday, and let's make it all work. Talk to you later.